Hare Krishna, everyone. Can you all see and hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashtaprayasu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, titled The Status Quo, chapter 9, titled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy, and verse number 39. Pritoham astu bhadram te lokanam vijayachaya yad astu sirguna mayam nirgunam manu varnayam. Pritoham astu bhadram te lokanam vijayachaya yad astu sirgunamayam nirgunam manuvarnayam. Synonyms: Prita, pleased; Aham, myself; Astu, let it be so; Bhadram, all benediction; Te, unto you; Lokanam, of the planets; Vijaya, for glorification; Ichaya, by your desire; Yat, that which; Astosi, you prayed for; Gunamayam, describing all transcendental qualities; Nirgunam, although I am free from all material qualities; Ma, me; Anuvarnayan, nicely describing. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I am very much pleased by your description of me in terms of my transcendental qualities, which appear mundane to the mundaners. I grant you all benedictions in your desire to glorify all the planets by your activity. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. A pure devotee of the Lord like Brahma and those in his line of disciplic succession always desire that the Lord is known all over the universe by each and every one of the living entities. That desire of the devotee is always blessed by the Lord. The impersonalist sometimes prays for the mercy of the personality of Godhead Narayana as the embodiment of material goodness. But such prayers do not satisfy the Lord because he is not thereby glorified in terms of his actual transcendental qualities. The pure devotees of the Lord are always more dear to him, although he is always kind and merciful to all living entities. Here, the Lord Gunamayam is significant because it indicates that Lord's possessing transcendental qualities. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमो श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगन रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगन ललिता श्री विशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So thank you so much for joining in this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya forum and discussing this beautiful words every day. And here, Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is explaining to Brahmaji um, in his series of uh, quotes. In this verse specifically, he explains that he likes the service which Brahmaji has performed so far. Pritoham astu bhadramte. That means Lord is pleased with Brahmaji for sharing the transcendental wisdom upon creation. And as you know, you cannot please the lordships by your sakti or your propensity to do something which is material. You can only please the Lord by doing pure devotional service. Pritoham astu bhadramchi. So that means Lord is saying, I'm very happy, Brahmaji, because you have spread my message all over the world by upon creation. And when and how you can please the Lord is very important, which is exactly what we will discuss today, is how can you please the Lord? Because Brahmaji, in this aspect of creating this world as an architect, having taken the onus after he is created from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he has gone out and created this world. And then he is offering so many stutis to the Lord. And then Lord is saying here, he is very pleased with Brahmaji. So what we are going to discuss today is how can you please the Lord, and what are the traits which pleases the Lord. And the second thing in this verse, the Lordship is saying Lokanam Vijaya Chaya. So Lokanam means Brahmaji as a person who has taken the direction from the Supreme Personality of Godhead has gone ahead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead has created so many lokas, so many planets. And in this planet, he has created this marginal energy of the Lord. And these energies of the Lord, these individuals of the Lord, have a propensity to have desire to win, which is very critical, which is something which I have to understand. Lokanam Vijayacha, Ichaya. That means the living entities have the desire to do Vijaya. That means Vijaya, as you know, is another name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wherever he is, there is always win. And some of the qualities, some of the inferior qualities of that Vijaya, which emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is carried forward through one of us, and every living entities have the desire to win. What is win in this context? Win is not really fighting someone, or killing someone, or trying to sort of violate someone. That's not really the win. The win, what Lordship is saying here, is he is glorifying Brahmaji for explaining the greater qualities of the Lord, and the jivas, the marginal energies of the Lord, have the propensity to enumerate and get some motivation as to how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with so much of uniqueness, have created this world, and how the law the marginal energies of the Lord have the desire to win by understanding about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he's saying, Yat astu sir gunamayam. That means here you might have seen, you might have heard, some of your spiritual fathers telling you Krishna Mati Astu. That's exactly my Guru Maharaj tells me all the time. So you see, Astu is used here twice. Astu Bhadramste. And here, Yad Astu Sir Gunamayam. The Lord is giving benediction. Lord is giving benediction, Krishna Mati Astu. The Lord is giving benediction to Brahmaji uh, for spreading the transcendental qualities of the Lord. As you know, Lord has three energies: internal energy, external energy, and the marginal energy. See, all this, opulence, all this material riches you see are actually from the external energy of the Lord, which is the inferior energy of the Lord. But the internal energy of the Lord is very pure, is is full of bliss, and it needs a lot of understanding for the mere mortals to understand what these transcendental qualities are. So as the opulence has come from the inferior energy of the Lord, if someone is trying to glorify the inferior energy of the Lord is probably not as pleased as to that situation in comparison to someone who is glorifying his creation of various different planets. So that is exactly what he's saying. And then Lord is saying, Nirgunam Manuvarnayam. Varnana. Varnana is something which we go out and explain. We kind of preach. So Lord is saying, I am beyond the three modes of the material nature, the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. That's why Lord is called Trigunatit. That means he is beyond the three modes. He is beyond the three modes, and Atit means he is beyond. So Nirgunam, that means here, so this words can be very easily misused by some Mayavadis because here Lord is explaining the word Nirgunam. But as devotees of the Lord, we should understand, and it is explained by Srila Prabhupada so beautifully. That is where you need a acharya to explain this, because this word can be very often misrepresented. That Lord is nirgunam. That means it doesn't mean Lord doesn't have any guna. Lord is beyond all these gunas. So he's trigunatit. He's atit. He's beyond what these three gunas. So he is nirguna manuvar. So Lord is pleased with Brahmaji for describing the qualities which is beyond the three modes. So what a beautiful verse. If you think about it, these four lines can really make your day and understand what makes Lord pleased. How can Lord be pleased? How can we please Lord Shamsundar? How can we please Lord Jagannath Baldev Subhadra? How can we please Gaurnitai? This is the verse which explains how to please Lord. When Lord has many opulences, but those opulences are from the external side of the Lord, and Lord is not that excited when we go ahead and glorify or come for money to him. Lord is pleased when devotees take his internal potencies and explain to the world. That makes Lord pleased. So the purpose of this today's discussion is to understand how to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which Brahmaji is doing. And Lord Himself is coming out and is saying how He is pleased, how Prito Aham Astu Bhadramte. In other words, Bhajatam Priti Purvakam is used, how we should lovingly serve. But here, Lord is using the word in a different way. Prito Aham Astu Bhadramte. That means he is pleased with Brahmaji for explaining all the Srishti Leela of the Lord and how Srishti Leela is very superior. Lord is explaining here, and with so many nice ornamental words, Lord is explaining, and we have to understand the true intent of what he's saying. So Srila Prabhupada has says books are the basis, purity is the force, preaching is the essence, and utility is the principle. So what is the bold sentence saying? Preaching is the essence. This verse is all about preaching. This verse is all about Lord getting pleased when his works, his internal works, his work is glorified outside. And when we take a moment to preach. So Prabhupada is saying preaching is the essence, exactly what Lord is indirectly saying in this verse. Because what is preaching? Preaching is not, commanding on someone and pushing a book on him. That's not really preaching. Preaching, as we discussed yesterday as well. Yesterday we discussed about mercy and grace, and Prabhuji touched on preaching. Preaching means is to share. Like if you have a candle and if you keep it within yourself, you can light the house. But if you take the candle and light 100 different candles, then people houses will be lighted. People will be aware. So when our devotees were on the street yesterday and many different times, what they're doing is they're basically sharing, some of the challenges our devotees are facing in some different places. And here, Lord is saying preaching is the essence. Because Krishna consciousness is a very timeless, very ornamental thing. And only when it is shared, only when the diamond is sharpened and the diamond is kept in a place where there are so many lights which really falls with different angles and it illuminates the diamond beautifully, then the value of the diamond is shown. Exactly like that, if Krishna consciousness is a diamond and if you just keep it within the pocket, it's not helpful. And that is where there are two terms which comes into picture, which is Bhajananandi and Gustanandi. What that means is there are devotees who are very happy keeping Krishna consciousness to themselves and they do the bhajan kirtan and they get a lot of bliss. And that is okay to a great degree. But there is another set of devotees who distribute this mercy in a very nice, humble manner, not charging or not pushing, but trying to share the beauty of Krishna consciousness, and they are called Ghostanandis. And that is where, and that doesn't mean the people who are doing Ghostanandis, they are not doing bhajan within themselves in trying to be blissful. So they are also chanting, they are also doing some of the regulative principles, and they are going out and distributing the mercy of the Lord. And that is when Lord is pleased the most. So the real essence of this verse is how Lord is pleased. What we should do to please the Lord. So the material opulence of the Lord, as we saw, comes from the external energy of the Lord. If a person is coming for money, he is really looking at some of the lower aspects of Lord's magnificence. And bhakti, which is essentially love, it actually emanates from the heart. It's the internal energy of the Lord, or it is the kripa shakti of the Lord. So it is a very subtle aspect to understand that bhakti is the topmost thing, which is actually emanating from the inner conscience of the Lord. For the external opulence, Lord has designated some demigods to really arouse that element of creation which makes you feel that this is all Lord possess, but that's nothing in comparison to what Lord has internally. So, as you know, four kinds of people come to Krishna: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and those searching for the knowledge. But of all the people who come to Krishna, but the 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 devotee who ushers that element of love has taken the Krishna conscious process forward is very very dear. And that of all the people which comes to Krishna, of many thousands men, manushya nam sahasringsu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvata. In 7.3, Lord Krishna says, out of many thousand men, one may endeavor for perfection, but those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. That means the person or the devotee who knows him internally is very rare. It's one in thousands. And they are the personalities who give the Lord the most happiness. And and that is where the devotional service is being taught about, where in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila it's mentioned, Hrishikena Hrishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Rutyache. Because Krishna is the proprietor of all our senses. He is Aham Bija Pradapita. He is the proprietor of this body. This body we carry. Sometimes there are people who cannot walk. There are some people who cannot see. And those are the senses they are devoid of. We are very fortunate that all the senses of the body is working in some form or shape. So as he is the proprietor of the body, when this body will be utilized for Krishna's service, that's our perfection of life. Hrishikena Hrishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. When this senses, this body is used to love Krishna or do something for Krishna, and that is the topmost thing, not coming to the temple and asking for money. And that's fine, but that is the external aspect of the Lord. And Lord is not very, very pleased when the external aspect is talked about. And that's why Lord says, Ananyaschintotamai ye jana padupashate tesam nitya bhuktanam yoga shemam vayam. So those who worship with devotion, meditate on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So here, uh, Krishna is emphasizing the importance of devotional service, where the internal aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is glorified. So Lord is pleased with our internal love. Lord is not pleased with our external love. That's why they say, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj says, it's not important what you give to Krishna. It's important how you give to Krishna. So it is the internal love which makes Krishna very pleased. And we'll take an example just after this. So you cannot satisfy Krishna but by external showering or material riches, knowledgeable recitation, and looks. Krishna is very beautiful. You cannot satisfy with your beautiful looks. And likewise, Krishna um, is also very knowledgeable. Like Ravana, once upon a time, used to recite the verses so beautifully that people used to get attracted. People used to get attracted by when the yajna is going on. Ravana used to recite the verses very, very beautiful, and Ravana was a very good pronunciation skills, and but still he has very unfavorable aspect linked to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he could not give up his mad mentality for having material pleasures, and that is the reason why he he did something which is so heinous. Lord has to come; he has to give him, you tell him that you can return my good wife, but he didn't listen. Even the last day till Vijayadasami, Lord Ram was asking him, do you regret having done all this? Can you return Mother Sita? But he never listened. But he was very good in material riches. He was very knowledgeable. He used to recite the slokas beautifully, and he had to pay the price because internally he never understood the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when Lord Krishna went to Hastinapur uh, as a mediator, Duryodhan uh, made a big party, and he uh, made sure that this person who is coming like a United Nations, I'll please him by showcasing my external opulence. And as you know, there are only two kind of situations when a person goes to somebody's house to eat: a person who is hungry and a person who is in love with the host, and likewise the host is in love with the person. And Lord Krishna said, neither of these two applies to me, because neither I am hungry nor we have a very good loving relationship. And Krishna came and did not stay with Duryodhan, and he went to Vidurji's house. So when he reached Vidurji's house, Vidurji was not in his house. Vidurayan, Vidurji's wife, was there. And seeing Lord Krishna, tears of love started falling from her eyes. And she got some bananas and he peeled the banana and giving the banana with so much of love, she couldn't understand what's going on. The entire world has come to the doorstep, and she literally forgot everything. And she was giving the peels of the banana and throwing the pulp of the banana to the trash. And it was going on for quite some time. And Lord was pleased. Lord was taking the peels of the banana from the wife of Vidurji. And when this was going on, Vidurji came and saw what's going on. The pulp which is supposed to be eaten is thrown, and the peel, Lord Krishna is lovingly eating. So, so it is very easy to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at the same time, it is very difficult to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why very simple people can understand these principles, the four principles, and the chanting of the holy name. But many people who have a lot of degrees, they cannot understand. It's very easy to understand Krishna consciousness if we are a simple person. Otherwise, it will take time and we have to make some effort in the form of preaching, which will eventually please Lord Krishna anyway. So, so this is a verse which is very important to this conversation. In Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Khanda, it's mentioned, Murkho vadati Vaishnaya, Dhiro vadati Vaishnave, Ubhayaschotu Samman Purnam, Bhava Grahi Janardanam. So a person who is not knowledgeable, he says Vishnaya Namo. That's incorrect grammar. But the person who is very knowledgeable in all this Sanskrit and grammar, he says Vishnave Nama, which is actually correct. But both of these have a internal offering of purity. So to Janardana, to Lord Krishna, both have the same value. Whether you call Vishnaya or whether you call Vishnave, it has the same value. Because Lord is Bhavagrahi Janardana. Because Lord Krishna sees the sentiment of the living being, not the words you use. He sees the degree of devotion, or in other words, he awards the result according to one's bhava. The bhava is actually important. You may be having a tremendous amount of attempt when Srila Prabhupada's devotees organized a big event in New York City. They put in all the street corners that there is a big event. But on that day, only 7 people came. And Srila Prabhupada was not at all displeased. The devotees were thinking, the disciples were thinking, Srila Prabhupada will be angry. Or Srila Prabhupada says, don't worry. Whenever we are talking the glories of Krishna, Brahma is there, all the demigods are there. So there are thousands of people who are there which we can't see. So just because 7 people turned up doesn't mean anything. You have done it, you have given your best, and in doing so, you have got the heart of mine in place. So always, Lord is very pleased when we make a small attempt because at the end of the day, take a step, Lord will take 10 steps to help you out. But if you do not take a step and do not do anything, there is nothing Lord can do to. So, what a beautiful verse to light up our thought process by saying, what makes Lord pleased? And Srila Prabhupada has said it in a way that the preaching is the essence. So we should attempt to share this light of love of Krishna consciousness, however we can, without being too pushy to our guests. So with that, like to end here. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Hema Jagańnātha. We'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. One day before Kartik begins, a month of lot of holy festivals. The entire month is sacred. A lot of a month where you can increase your devotional service, leaps and bounds. If you like to perform more service, more devotion, uh, more austerities. So also from tomorrow we'll have a program at the temple, Sharat Purnima, in the evening. So you're all welcome. Beginning of Damodar month, where you can also offer candle to the Lord, either at the temple or at your homes. We like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Narsingha, Jai Narsingha, Jai Jai Narsingha. Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa. Ugra Veera Mahavishnu Jalantam
Mahavishnu,
Sarvatom
Galantam
Mukam
Sarvatomukam,
Narsingam Vishanam Bhadram
Narsingham Deshinam Bhadram,
Namahyam.
Mrityunjayam Namamyam.
Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai,
Ki Jai,
Prahlad Maharaj ki
Ki
jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances, the lotus feet of all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarvasya kripa
Vanchakalpataruvasya
sindhu
Kripa
bhaya
Sindhu
vacha.
Bhavacha Patitana
Patitanam pavane bhayo Vaishnave.
Vaishnava
Namo
Namo
Namah.
Namah.
Vaishnavinda
Ki
ki jai.
Jai,
Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Ki
jai.
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari 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 Bo.
Hare Krishna.